Hi everyone, thank you for joining. So please update your display name to include your name and your company name in brackets. So we will only be able to respond to questions from identified participants. So we also understand that some of you may not be able to rename yourself. So please state your name and your company name along with your questions later. Thank you. So we'll be beginning. While we understand some of people are still joining, but we see significant people already joined. So welcome to the briefing section on the revision of the guideline on the use of internet for insurance activity, which is the GL8. Today's agenda includes 6 sections. So we will go through some introduction of the panelists and ground rules, and then we will talk about the revision of the GL8, and then we will move on to the Q&A section. So let us introduce our hosts and participants. So on the panelists, we have Tony from IA and Jessica from IA. And PwC is also taking part as a advisory role. So we have CY here, I'm Florence, and we have Eleanor here. So let us go through a little bit ground rules for the section first. So to ensure a smooth section, so the audio function will remain muted for all participants throughout the presentation. So if you have any questions, so you may submit your question via the chat box, and we will address all the questions during the Q&A section. So during the Q&A section, so you are all welcome to raise your question via the chat box. So please edit your display name to include your name and your company name. If you cannot rename yourself, please state your name along with your question. We will only be able to respond to questions from identified participants. And also, please note that this section is intended to provide a briefing on the proposed updates to GL8. So for any written suggestions or feedback, so please submit them through your respective association. So today's section will only focus on clarifications required on the requirements. So now we will pass on to Jessica to give us some introduction on the proposed changes.
Thank you very much, Florence, for the introductions. So in the room, we are from the IA Policy and Legislation team. We have the insurance tech team colleague here, and Tony is also. So the purpose for today is to let you know some thought about the upcoming guideline update for GL8, the use of internet. The revised guideline will be applicable for both the intermediaries and the insurance company. So the full consultation has been sent to you through the respective association in December. So we can start. This is the IAAI journey. So other than the consultation that we have done, we have a series of work related to AI from 2024. So as most of you know about it, we have year 20, we have launched last year, 2024. It is also get a system from PwC. And after this, the first submissions for the high-risk insurer, we have received in December 2 months ago in 2025. So after this, we have moved along the journey to the AI cohort, which is we have 7 insurance companies, and we see a lot of the AI cohort members. They are also in the call today. After this, we have also done a factual learning white paper related to the privacy AI research. We have done this with 3 insurance companies. We have practical use case to share with the industry. And now we are moving to the orange box, that is the GL8, the AI governance. It is the consultation and the briefing section that we are performing now. And after this, we will also have another guideline related to GL14 on cloud computing, on some of the cloud governance and the outsourcing agreement that we will clarify in the upcoming GL14. But in parallel, other than the guideline that we are doing, so Tommy and myself, we also do a lot of the solution matching related workshop and seminars. So you can stay tuned for our announcement. So in the beginning of March, we will also have a cross-sectorial Gen AI sandbox test. When we come back to the guideline in the background for today, for the GLX, the use of internet, when we propose some update on the guideline, we have to do a lot of the groundwork from survey. So in March, we have do an AI survey that is very comprehensive with more than 100 questions, is to understand the current landscape of the insurance company on the usage of AI, their planning, and their current governance model. We also benchmark with our local regulators like the HKMA and SFC on related requirement from technology risk and to other AI specific requirement. We also benchmark with the Chinese mainland and also Singapore and the other jurisdictions that have similar insurance penetration like us. After this, in October and November, some of the company already see the guideline and have some of the very in-depth focus group with us. So we have learned from 15 different organizations, from insurance company and also intermediaries and some of the associations. They also give positive feedback about GLX. So now, from now until February, that is this month, so we have our consultation process. So we welcome you provide written comment to us about our guideline. Other than this, you can also let us know if you have any questions or you want to clarify any of the requirement on GLX from today's. So this is the scope of the AI survey that we have done in March. But why we want to let you know about this slide is because that some of the update element of our new guideline is around the AI strategy adoption, the application business impact, some of the data governance, some of the risk management control, and some of the best practice it should be done if you adopt the AI technology. So we just want to let you know some of the updated element in the guideline we are actually referencing from the scope of the AI survey that we've done before. So in the survey, other than some of the bread and butter foundation information that we receive from the insurance industry, we have also learned that the industry is not only looking for regulatory clarity, but is also look for more collaboration and a stronger foundation on the AI development. So that's why for Tommy and myself, we have launched the AI program and different seminars like throughout in the last 6 months, because that we believe when we do AI adoption or other technology adoption, guideline is one of the foundation, but the other collaboration is also required. Now it's come to the overview of the key updates. So today we have around 400 attendants from 160 financial institutions. Some of them is from insurance company and some of them is from the intermediaries company. The background is for the GLX update, we have separated into 3 parts. Is the main guideline update about GLX, and the second one is about the appendix, only focus on AI. And we also have an annex, it is a risk assessment checklist. It is the orange box here. It is related to insurance. So I believe that this page can give you a better understanding on the guideline. It is applicable for insurance company and intermediaries, but for the AI specific guideline and the AI risk assessment, it is related to Annex A. It is only insurer specific. So for the GLX guideline, what we are going to be specified on, we are mostly on expanding the scope. As you know, the current GLX is very legacy. We would include that for mobile application, mini program, or any social media. It is also in scope of the digital channel that should be included. And the other thing is that we want to also let you know that for the inclusion of emerging technology from the price comparison website or any of the digital marketing is also included in the GLX. So previously, some of the insurance companies they believe that GLX should be included, and some of them they don't know that this type of expansion of digital scope should be included. So now we want to make clarification that the GLX scope applies to both insurance company and intermediaries, is including social media, mobile application, any other website, mini program, or any digital marketing. But again, some of the use of AI and the risk assessment is applicable for insurance company. And for intermediaries company, you are very welcome to reference this as some of the best practice. So now I pass the time to CY, his chief partner from PwC, leading the exercise of the benchmarking exercise about some of the groundwork we done when we update the GLX. So you will know more about our rationale and some of the principles you can keep in mind to see why the updates being done.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, actually, I will take you through the remaining sessions of this briefing session. And this part is about the benchmarking exercise we have done. Actually, what we show here is the AI benchmarking. Obviously, for the remaining part of the GLX, we also did similar benchmarking. But the most important part of the benchmarking exercise is on the AI part. Because first of all, AI is a very new, evolving technology. And we observed that different regulators, different regions have different requirements, have different focuses. So actually, in order for us to have the all-rounded consideration of all this trend in the global as well as in the financial market, we have done benchmarking within the local market as pointed out by Jessica, mainly with Hong Kong MA and SFC, while we also did benchmarking with global institutions. For the local market benchmarking, actually, you can see for Hong Kong MA, they have 3 circulars over which is AI related. The 2 issued in 2019 about AI, because at that time we don't have Gen AI yet. And also Hong Kong MA also has an updated circular over the Gen AI in 2024. For that part, actually, you can see regarding the scope, basically the whole AI would be covered by these circulars, and also Gen AI by the third one. And also, actually, they also took the risk-based approach, which is principle-based and risk-based adoption. And for the governance framework, they include both governance and accountability principles. For AI principles, and you can see they cover accountability, fairness, transparency, and disclosure, privacy, and cybersecurity. Okay, but they don't have the operational resilience, and also they don't have examples or illustrative examples in the circular. For the SFC, so far they have 1 circular in relation to Gen AI, and it's also risk-based approach. But there's actually they try to give some kind of a guideline over what kind of use cases of AI are high risk. For example, the robot advisor, they name it as an example of a high risk use case. And for that part, they have an additional requirement such as application or the endorsement of the SFC before launching that kind of high risk AI systems. And for the governance framework, they have similar governance framework, in particular the senior management responsibilities. Regarding the AI principles, actually, they don't have comprehensive AI principles set out in the circular, but they focus on the governance model with cybersecurity. After considering this, you can see in our proposal draft, we try to, first of all, adopt a risk-based, principle-based approach, similar to Hong Kong MA and SFC. Also, we try to have certain criteria to guide insurance companies to differentiate higher risk AI system versus general AI systems. And the reason is that we believe that high risk AI system should do more, should follow more requirements compared to the general or lower risk AI use cases. And for the governance framework and the principles, we try to make it more comprehensive following the global trend you can see from other regions such as Singapore. So we try to make it more comprehensive from governance, accountability, openness, security, safety, privacy, transparency, expandability, fairness, and non-discrimination. We believe that actually have this kind of comprehensive guideline, insurers can have a more easy to follow a framework for them to develop the AI governance framework. Regarding the operational resilience, we actually we also have a certain coverage over the OR, and in a nutshell, actually there's a current existing guidelines over operational resilience, so we will point the insurers to that specific guideline. And examples, yes, we from the focus group interview as well as from other consultation, we observed that many insurers and intermediaries suggest we put more examples to help them to fully understand or the guidance or more practical guidelines on how they can implement the requirement or the guidelines. So we are drafting, we prepare to actually publish a FAQ on top of the current GL8 revised. And in the FAQ, actually we will put certain examples over key concept definitions and the requirement. For the benchmarking, we also do, actually we know that a lot of insurers and the market also ask whether there's an independent assessment required for that kind of AI regulations. Okay, and for Hong Kong MA, actually, as long as it's defined as e-banking or technology outsourcing, material outsourcing, the banks also need to perform independent assessment following the current guideline. And also, if this for these guidelines and event assessment report, they need to submit the result to the Hong Kong MA. Okay, but for the SFC, as mentioned earlier, if it is for higher risk use cases, it's required to have the independent assessment report submitted to the regulator for them to endorse before launching the system in production. While for us, we try to do a more balanced approach. And first of all, we do suggest we do provide an assessment template as the enders to the guideline and appendix. And actually, the template is a high-level checklist to guide or to provide hints for the insurers to perform self-assessment. But as you can see from the consultation paper, actually for now we don't have plan to ask or require insurer to submit the result of the independent assessment to IA, but the work result and the work paper should be retained for potential inquiry or on-site inspection. Apart from the local market, which is HKMA and SFC, we also did benchmarking against regulators in the Chinese mainland, EU, and Singapore. While for the Chinese mainland, so far the PBOC or NFRA, they don't have AI-specific guidelines similar to what GL8 tried to do. So, so there's no industry-specific comparable AI guideline, but there's some guideline issued by or published by CAC. And also, actually, in late 2025, they published version 2 of the AI governance framework, which we find some areas are quite useful for us to take reference. For example, they also introduced a risk classification methodology regarding AI safety, and they have a pretty comprehensive governance framework. These are AI principles such as model risk, algorithm risk, data risk, cybersecurity risk, etc. So we do take some references from this framework when we prepare or draft the consultation paper. For EU, I think it's very famous, and it is one of the first Gen AI or AI law published by the major countries, and we also consider certain observations regarding the new AI Act, which is very prescriptive, very prescriptive and also demanding, and also we find that to a certain extent the risk classifications, although they are very specific, but may not be applicable in our market. But we still do a detailed benchmarking to the requirements of the EU. And last but not least is from Singapore. From Singapore, at the very late stage of the consultation drafting, we looked at that MAS published a consultation paper on guidelines on AI risk management. So we, in the very last stage of the preparation of the draft, we did a very comprehensive benchmarking to the MAS consultation paper, and we found that actually the overall principles, such as the risk-based principles, governance framework, the AI principle to be included, are very similar to what we plan to do. So we just make a few fine-tuning, and basically the consultation draft is very similar to the Singapore consultation paper. Well, of course, Singapore, apart from the consultation paper, they also have certain so-called information paper. But we believe that the information paper the purpose is not the same. The information paper is listing out the good practice of certain financial institutions in Singapore, not only for insurance company, but also covering banks and securities companies. So we actually in our benchmarking exercise, we mainly benchmark to the consultation paper, the third one. So in conclusion, different regulators in Hong Kong and as well as outside Hong Kong, they have some requirements over AI. They have common areas such as risk-based, independent assessment required, and also the AI governance framework. But at the same time, they are not exactly the same, because actually every regulator trying to do something in parallel, as well as that they try to adjust or issue guidelines to be applicable and tailored for their own market. So, but at the same time, when IA prepare our draft, we try to consider all the trends, all the key points, and we believe that actually in our consultation draft is balanced and comprehensive guidelines. So next section is about introduction of the key areas or requirements in our proposed GL revision. Although we emphasize a lot over AI, but in fact, the revision of the GL8 is more than AI. We also introduce, expand the scope of the guideline from internet, website to digital channels. That's the first major change. The other one is we also introduce a technology risk management framework to the revised guideline. And of course, we have the appendix regarding for the AI specific requirements. So here is the overall structure of the revised GL8. First, we have the purpose, key definitions. Regarding the key definitions, which is about insurance activities, digital channels, and service providers. And as I mentioned, one major part of the revision or enhancement is to expand the scope from internet to digital channels. And also we try to differentiate the requirement or the scope of the application between insurers and intermediaries. For the digital channels, we put some examples which include websites, mobile apps, mini apps, social media, and third-party digital channels. And for the TLM framework, is only applicable to insurers. For intermediaries, it's good for them to take reference. And the key principles include governance, risk management process, and technology, system, and resilience. Well, for the AI part, very similar structure, purpose, scope, scope of applications. For that part, also only applicable or only required for insurers. Intermediates are for reference only. And for the key requirements, we have the three key parts. One is the AI system identifications and inventory, and second one is the some high-level guidelines to help to assist insurers to identify higher risk system, and also the requirement of having a complete AI system inventory list. For the AI system, we have definition. We have a definition, and which actually include cover machine learning, NLP, Gen AI, and AI-enabled automation. We try to make it principle and general so that in future, actually every month, every week, we have new use cases, system, platform, concept, terminologies. So we try to make it more general, principle based, so that although there's any, in case there's any future development of the AI system, we don't need to update the guideline too frequently. And also for other parts, we may consider to update or to help the insurers to catch up with the latest AI technologies through the format of the FAQ. Yeah, and the AI governance framework is mentioned from governance, accountability, operational resilience, etc. So it's pretty comprehensive, and the purpose is to help insurers to have all-rounded and end-to-end guidance to help them to build the governance framework. And for the AI risk assessment checklist, it's high level. It's cover the key aspect of the AI governance and risk management, and also facilitate them to perform internal assessment and strategic planning, and it's only for internal use, and no submission to HKIA is required. Okay. For this, from this slide onward, we try to highlight the key content or requirements of the revised GL8. And as mentioned by Jessica, we have conducted a rounds of focus group interviews with insurance organizations as well as associations. And so we also, if for this, we try to have the summary comments from the focus group interviews for your reference. But of course, in case you have any other comments or suggestions, feel free to submit to us in writing after the session, during the consultation period. And this slide is about the scope of the GL8. Okay, we repeated a few times. The scope has been expanded from internet to other digital channels, such as mobile app and social media. And for this part, it's applicable to both insurers and intermediaries. Second key change is introduction of the TRM framework. It's only for insurers. It's only required for insurers, and which the purpose is to introduce foundational governance and controls necessary for insurers to manage technology risk related and operational resilience. And last is about the AI. It's also mandatory for insurers only. And from the focus group interviews, all interviewees actually shared with us that they agreed the timing and also the direction of the GL8 revision. We do feel that actually they are also they are waiting for this guideline so that they have a good reference or visibility of what the regulators are expecting, are requiring, so that they can go ahead with the AI strategy and the piloting, as well as the implementation of the production systems. And actually, all interviewees also found the guideline to be a useful reference and standard for both technology governance and AI. So regarding the scope and definition of digital channels, here is we try to expand it from internet or websites only to digital channels and other technologies. And we put some example, including social media, mobile apps, and many applications. And the comments from the previous focus group interviews is most of them agree that the definition of these channels are clear, comprehensive, and inclusive in general. I think that's the comment from them. And also in the guideline, we introduce insurance activities, and we try to give definition as well as examples of insurance activities which is considered or applicable in the GL8 revised. And I don't actually go through all these details one by one, but it's comprehensive enough and also principle-based enough for the insurers to follow. And the comment from the focus group interviews are most of them agree the definition of the insurance activities, and they believe that or they regard the definitions and examples are clear and inclusive enough. Authorization status. Actually, we don't change the principle or the requirements. We just fine-tune the requirements by including or adding IP address location data as one of the factors that should be considered by the insurers as well as IIA in determining whether the status or the activities are Hong Kong related. So for the channels, we put 3 types of specific digital channels and elaborate on the expected requirements. Okay. First is the price comparison website. Second would be the social media and digital marketing. Last would be the third-party digital channels. The key principles, okay, no matter whether it's PCW, social media, third-party digital channels, or others, the same set of principles apply. First is obviously need to compliance with insurance ordinance, following the licensing requirements. Second, the insurance company as well as the intermediaries should establish appropriate governance structure and framework to control or to make sure the digital channels are managed properly. These governance principles include policies, data accuracy, fairness to the customers, training, ethical and customer communications. And also, both insurers and intermediaries should establish a robust and appropriate risk management process, such as a periodic review and ongoing monitoring. And since it's about presenting or communicating to the customers through digital channels, so fair presentation, transparency, disclosure, and also proper customer data protection are also be expected. The second part of the GL8 revision is introduction of the TRM framework. For this part, it's only required or applied to insurers. And with exclusion of captive insurers, marine, mutual insurers, special purpose insurers, noise, and others, which is actually consistent to other GL guidelines. And from the focus group interviews, no interviewee had any comment or question over the scope of the TRM applications. Okay, the purpose or the scope of the TRM framework is the objective is to set out the foundational governance and control requirements for insurers to manage technology risk across all operation of the insurers. And there are 3 major parts. One is the governance part, risk management process, and technology system and resilience. We have some discussion with insurers, selected insurers in the focus group interviews. actually all of them agree the implementation of the TRM is feasible and practical and shouldn't have any problem in actual implementation. In fact, what we try to propose is what they already built in their existing policy and framework. And in fact, when we are drafting or designing the TRM framework and requirements, we benchmark to some common international standards such as the ISO standard, etc. And we know that as long as actually a lot of insurance companies already certified with the related ISO standards, and also they're also many of them subject to internal and external audit, and actually there's no, personally I don't think there's a big difference or additional requirement over this internal standard as well as the auditing requirement. So I believe the requirements should be feasible and comprehensive enough for the insurers to follow. For the AI appendix, similar, the applicability of the appendix, first of all, is for insurance only, and the exclusion is the same as the TRM requirements and framework. But there's one reminder here is the applicability of the AI appendix is not limited to digital channel activities. Okay, it applies to the use of AI systems carrying within the insurance company across all operations within the company, not limited to activities conducted through digital channels. And regarding this, the focus group interviewees, they all agree on the scope of the application of the AI appendix. Next would be the definition of the AI systems. We try to benchmark to a lot of definition of AI systems, and we finally we decided to adopt the definition of the OECD. Under this definition, actually, we quote 4 examples here: machine learning, NLP, Gen AI, and AI-enabled automation. All interviewees from the focus group interviews, they agreed, no comments regarding the definition. Okay, they believe that it is clear enough and also consistent to what they to their internal definition of AI. Risk-based approach, because AI technology is underlying technology. It's not use case specific. It's not technology specific. Okay, so it's a general technology, and we try to avoid to. So the principle is for insurers, they should take a proportionate and risk-based approach in determining what kind of controls or standard should be applied to their own AI system and use cases according to the risk. Regarding the risk, we introduce the concept of likelihood and materiality of the potential risk presented by the AI use cases, so that the insurers can conduct their own risk assessment, considering the likelihood and materiality of the risk in determining whether it's a higher risk AI system or not. And also, we introduce for higher risk AI systems, we introduce a few additional applicable requirements over the risk mitigation measures, which we have a separate slide to introduce these additional measures. But the concept is we don't want to be introducing a cookie cutter to require all, no matter high risk or low risk AI system, subject to the same set of the requirements. We try to support and help insurers to conduct risk assessment and differentiate the AI use cases between higher risk and general AI use cases. And we have some discussion with the focus group interviewees, and at the end, they all agreed that a proportionate and risk-based approach should be taken so that they can prioritize their resources to higher risk AI use cases. Regarding the identification of the higher risk AI systems, actually, we have a few versions during the drafting of the requirements. At the end, we decided to give more room for the insurers to exercise professional judgment in determining whether a system is high risk or not. For the insurers to exercise the professional judgment, as I mentioned earlier, we require the insurers to consider the impact on the policy holders as well as the insurer's risk profile as the factors to consider in determining the risk level of the system. If there is high reliance by the insurer to perform the critical operation through the AI use cases, it is an indicator of higher risk AI systems. And also, we list out a few factors for insurers to consider when they determine the risk level of the AI system. First is whether the AI system is used to provide regulated advice to insurance policyholders. Second, whether the AI system is being used to facilitate the decision making on complex underwriting or pricing decision for individuals at significant scale. And last but not least is whether there's an automated adjudication or determination of complex or subjective claims payout as a decision-making tool. These are 3 examples, but they're just examples, but the insurers are still expected to apply professional judgment and also the high-level principles, including the likelihood and material and the impact to consider whether the system is high risk or not. And of course, we received some comments and feedback from the focus group interviewees regarding the definition of high risk AI systems. And many of them suggest IA to include or to provide more examples over what systems would constitute or would be considered as high-risk AI systems. And we are considering these suggestions, and we are actually trying to prepare some more detailed guidelines, including examples, to help insurers to understand the requirement of the identification of high-risk AI systems. Of course, we also welcome the industry to provide more comments during the consultation phase regarding this requirement. This slide is further elaborate on the previous slides. First of all, again, it's the professional judgment, but basically it's about the impact and the likelihood of the potential outcome of impact to the policyholder as well as to the insurer's risk profile, and also whether the AI system is actually constitute a high reliance by the company to perform critical operations. And for high-risk AI system, as mentioned, there will be additional risk remediation measures required to be implemented by the insurers. Example is, first of all, human-in-the-loop process. Second would be to conduct sufficient stress tests and scenario-based risk assessment. Regarding the AI governance framework, or sometimes being called as responsible AI framework, I think what we try to include here is consistent to the international standard as well as other territories' AI governance requirements. Which include governance accountability, risk management, internal controls, operational resilience, robustness, security, safety, and privacy. Also, transparency, expandability, and last, fairness and non-discrimination. As I mentioned, so the framework itself is pretty standard and consistent to others. But most interviewees suggest whether we can provide more examples, for example, in the Q&A document, which we will take into consideration and prepare more examples or further guidelines over how to implement these AI governance requirements. For example, I know for explainability, is not only required by us but by also other Hong Kong regulator, and that part we will try to elaborate on the tools or the market best practice in the explainability requirements of the framework. For the AI risk assessment checklist, the requirement is documented as an annex to the appendix, AI appendix. It's aimed to be a high-level internal reference for the insurance companies to consider what are the key aspects in relation to the AI governance and risk management framework for them to conduct the internal risk assessment, as well as the strategic planning. And it's only required for insurers, and also we try to emphasize again, there's no need for insurers to submit the completed checklist to IA. It's just a guideline for them to carry out the required risk management assessment depicted in the AI appendix. And so the focus group interviewees, they welcome the checklist. In particular, is flexible, and also a principle-based for them to follow, to take reference in order for them to do the internal risk assessment. Actually, from the discussion, we know that most of them are already doing similar self-assessment regarding AI risk. So this checklist are very useful supplementary resources for them to revisit the existing internal risk management framework and to enhance their current AI governance mechanism. Okay, last is about the timeline of the GLH revision. First of all, the consultation period is supposed to. First of all, our consultation draft is distributed to the industry association on 24th of December last year, and we would like to receive your feedback in writing through this association as soon as possible. I think the deadline should be end of this month. And we will have industry feedback session Q2 of 2026, and the revised GLH is expected to be finalized and rolled out by around Q4.
Thank you very much for CY for a detailed explanation and going through the GLH key elements with us. And now we'll move to the Q&A sections. So far we have received 3 questions from the chat box. So the first question is from Ken Zhang from HKCIB. It is asking about. So it is asking about for AI enabled automation. Does it include internal automation such as those using Google Workspace, AI Studio, or use of summarized email? So first, we want to clarify that the GLH guideline, so CY firstly explained, is related to insurance activities. So if for internal operation or some of the use in staff productivity, it is not strictly related to insurance activities, and currently it may be out of scope. So this is the first questions that we received. And the second question and third question we received is from Kathy Wong from Boltech. The first question is asking about fair representation from price comparison website. So I believe that it is quite self-explained. So the fair representation is like you need to conduct periodic or regular review of your algorithm, data source, or identify as much as insurance product or insurers for the customer selections. So this is referred to fair representation for the price comparison website. So the next question is also from Kathy Wong, Boltech. She's asking about what is technology and resilience referring to. So for these particular questions, we will refer to bullet 27 from the consultation study. So if you have further comment, you can submit the written result to us. But the detailed definition, so in extension to the PowerPoint, it is listed in page 27. It is listed in page 10, bullet 27. You got a further detailed understanding on the technology system usage. So we encourage you to leverage the Q&A sections. So if you have further questions, you can just type in the message box for us to respond.
So we currently receiving a lot of questions in the chat box. Another questions are from Raymond from CMB Wingnong Insurance. So the question is, paragraph 34 mentions that making decisions on complex underwriting or pricing for individuals at a significant scale constitute a higher risk. Could you provide specific quantitative standards or definitions for significant scale and complex? For instance, would a simple logistic regression model applied to the entire Hong Kong customer base be considered complex? Conversely, would a complex neural network used for a niche group of high net worth individuals be considered significant scale? A lack of quantitative standards may lead to inconsistent compliance judgment across the industry.
So I think first of all, we don't have, and I think we are not intended to have quantitative threshold to define complex or material. But I think under the paragraph 34, I think it's clear enough for us to say actually it's a professional judgment. First of all, second is the factor to be considered is whether there's the AI use case would lead to material impact on policy holder outcomes or the insurer's risk profile, and also whether there's a high reliance by the insurers on the AI use cases or systems for critical operations. I think these will be the general principles for the insurers to apply their own professional judgment and also risk appetite to determine what is higher risk system or AI system or use cases. And regarding the materiality or critical operations, the insurers can refer to other applicable guidelines of HIA. We use the same or consistent standard regarding the materiality and critical operations.
Thank you, CY. So another question also from Raymond from Wingnong Insurance. So question is, paragraph 44 requires HITL mechanisms for higher risk AI systems for fully automated real-time underwriting or claim systems, which rely on instant approval. Does the requirement for human intervention imply that true straight-through processing is no longer permissible? If post-deployment sampling is adopted as a form of HITL, what sampling ratio would be required to be considered compliant?
Thank you very much for CMB Wenglong Raymond House questions, because it has listed around 7 questions. Maybe I answer them all in one. So the principle of the GLA is not to replace all the stressful process. To be honest, it is not feasible, and we are very practical. So the high risk system is need to have the human intervention or opt-out or human in the loop. It's just like that. You need to have proper disclosure to the customers stating that the insurance company is using AI, and give them an option to appeal the result if they want to. So the human intervention, it could be an email address, it could be a direct phone number, or it could be another email address was related to the complaint. So it becomes that the whole principle is about customer disclosures. We will provide more information about this. So we are not going to replace all the information, but you need to let the customer know which of the critical decision is using some of the AI decision, and give them away on the complaint. The other question of Raymond is related to mentioning GL20 may be overlap. The GL20 requirement may be overlap with the TRM framework. So for this, we also have some internal discussions, and some of the focus group also asked about the same questions. So the GLX is really focused on the cybersecurity and the attack. The TRM is more general and operation related. So we found that the level of depth and the element that cover in GL20 and the TRM that proposed in GL8, it might not be exactly the same. So, and the other question is about Raymond from Wenglong Insurance also asking, the GL8 includes social media in the regulatory scope, but if some of the insurance agency they use of the social media non-official account, then how it is related. So to be very honest, we believe that a lot of the insurance company, they have very clear guidelines for the agency to use of social media, official or non-official related to insurance related activity. So if something that it is really private account that the insurance company or none of the party can really track on, to be honest, at the moment, it is really we rely on the company's conduct practice to the agency task force. But for the requirement here, we just want to state it clear that the social media is within the regulatory scope. Because previously the GL8 is only on the website, on the domain like http or any .com, but we want we want to clearly identify that social media is inside the regulatory scope, and we encourage the insurance company to have a proper guideline and proper standard for your agency to use of the social media account to transfer or advise on any insurance related activities. And the other questions we received from William is asking about the official standard of PII in Hong Kong other than PCPD. To be honest, the official standard of PII in Hong Kong is still referring to PCPD, but PCPD has a lot of material talking about insurance related, like the patient record or the other material, what can be used, what cannot be used. We strongly encourage live to look at the PCPD website very clear, including all the leaflet and the circular. Next question is CHOP. CHOP is asking, is from Joyce Lin from CHOP. It is asking regarding paragraph 25D, disclosure to customer requiring authorize the insurer to display security statement on the channel. If we will provide more guidance, not. To be honest, we will provide more guidance on this. So the consultation is just to let you know we will have this refinement coming up. The next one is Fushu Reinsurance Company. You want to see us clarification on applicability of GL8. So at the moment, the GL8 is also in scope for reinsurance company. The next one is Patrick News from CTF Life Insurance. it talk about AI risk assessment. Apart from the operational risk, what kind of other risk should we include in the risk assessment? So this question I will pass to CY.
Maybe go to the checklist. We're talking about the AI checklist, right?
AI risk assessment.
Okay. Actually, we don't restrict it to operational risk. Actually, the checklist is about the process of doing the AI risk assessment required by the appendix. So it includes risk identification, governance, accountability, risk management, internal controls, which is actually mapped to the governance framework, which is mapped to the governance framework of the AI governance framework in the appendix. But of course, to help issuers to better actually prepare the risk assessment evidence or web paper, we shall list out or actually identify certain illustrative requirement questions for the insurers to follow. But I think it's not restricted to operational risk. Is this the question?
No.
So in short, the AI risk assessment, apart from operational risk, is also include any conduct risk or other financial risk related to the use of AI. So you do not specific risk like operational risk, but in the Annex A, we have a checklist on the AI related. So it's from governance, accountability to risk control, internal control, or some of the transparency and also data governance.
I think to supplement what Jessica just said, first of all, the thinking process is, first of all, the insurance companies should perform an internal risk assessment to identify higher risk AI system versus higher risk AI systems. For higher risk AI system, there will be specific assessment need to be done for those systems. For example, stress tests, as well as there's another one, also whether there's sufficient human in the loop process mentioned by Jessica, such as the opt-out, opt-in function. But actually, in general, each AI governance principles, for example, explainability, security, privacy, the risk assessment should have certain tests or controls to manage the risk in relation to that AI specific risk area. The purpose of that endless is try to provide high-level questions or guidance to guide the insurers to decide what kind of tests or assessment need to be done. But actually, it's just for a high-level principle. What kind of specific tests need to be done or tools need to be deployed. I think it depends on the risk assessment result, as well as the professional judgment of the insurers.
So the next question is from Connie AIA. It is asking about the price comparison website with comparison of product features without mentioning the comparison price of the product. We consider PCW. So the first question is the price comparison website. Why we want to mention here, because we have an explanatory note that issued by IA in 2024. It mentioned that all the website, it doesn't matter you name it, it's price comparison website or not. If you have compare features of a specific insurance product and with the clear insurance product name, then it's considered as a price comparison website. So if you only compare the features, you don't mention about the price, you don't mention about the product name, then it might not be considered as PCW because it might be a general utilities that to be used for internal agent. But the PCW, one of the key elements is that from that price comparison website, a customer will have a decision, clearly know that which product it is more recommended. So it need to be include the product name, price is optional. maybe the company name. This is some of the key elements for the customer to identify a certain product. If you don't have the product name, don't have the product company name, don't have the price, then it might not be considered. So the next question is that what is expected from the insurance company if broker firms may be develop and use of PCW across product offering? So this is a normal practice. Before and after GL20, before and after GL8, we do not have our change in standpoint for broker to use PWC. They can still use it. It's still subject to the current regulation with or without GL8. The next one is from Carlton from Prudential. So Carlton from Prudential asked a question. It's a very popular question. It is asking, authorize the insurer should provide policyholder with clear and accessible means to opt out to use of AI-driven service or request human intervention in a process managed by AI. So the question is, does it mean explicit opt-out option a checkbox, or it is sufficient as long as a policy provider are given a clear and accessible way? So we refer to the later. So the presentation, it could be different, but the general principle is that you need to give the policyholder a way out to in touch or request other from the machine response. It can be a checkbox, it can be email, it can be a hotline. Next one is also Connie from AIA. It is talking about the IP address. So it is asking that for the IP address, what is being in scope for our channel is mentioned, or any flexibility to consider. So the GL. So for this question, we'll be respond in a more general manner. We understand that some of the social media, they will provide you on the IP address or location tracking. For this requirement, because in the current GLAs that defined it many years ago, it required for live company, if you sell a certain product, it required to check on the telephone number and the address of the customer as they in GL8. But in extension, if we expand GL8 other than website or the physical correspondence, it is also extended to digital channel. So here refer to the company need to have the best practice or the responsible to check if you are selling certain type of insurance product, then it need to be take place in Hong Kong locally. So for social media, we believe that it seems that we do not see a lot of case to sell directly on the social media on insurance application. In here, we talk about the insurance application process. And next question about from Connie AIA, it mentioned, yes, GLF14 will be updated very soon to clarify the outsourcing scope related to cloud usage. I believe a lot of the AI system, it might also use of the cloud computing access. Next one is Cecilia Lee from Manulife. Should we understand that the new TRM will cover all digital channel technology, including AI system? The response is yes. The new TRM is covered to all digital channels technology, including and excluding the AI system and the use of AI. So it's more independent. The next question is Pat Mock from POC Live. It is asking, any AI use case or scenario that regulator consider as unacceptable risk? To be honest, as Tony is here, I believe that we don't have any unacceptable risk other than you are not being compliant. So as long as you comply with our guideline, we are happy to have AI to use in anywhere of your operation procedures. The next one is from Ken Chiu from RGA Reinsurance. It is asking part 1. Propose the guideline on the use of digital channel. Does the scope of insurance activity only target to cover activity that target existing or potential policyholder? In this case, it is not intended to cover activity between licensed institutions such as insurers and reinsurers. The question from RJ is valid. If the activity is between insurer and reinsurer, then the GL8 might not be too applicable because, as we mentioned, it is more operational related or commercial decision between insurer and reinsurer. but both insurer and reinsurer, you are still subject to the upcoming GL14 on outsourcing and the GL20 on cybersecurity regular standard. So Cecilia, question related to Manulife. I believe that we have responded similar questions. When we talk about the option for AI, we're talking about a reasonable way for the customer to be out of the machine range of communication. So if you use for internal underwriting or claim process, at the end, the process is still need to be disclosed to the customer. So I believe that the any decision from underwriting to claim process, if you use of 100% AI, you still need to be let the customer know. But if you just use of the tool to accelerate the process, but not directly influencing the decision making, then customer disclosure might not be required. Next question is from BOC Live from Pat Wong. It is about paragraph 42. It's about monitoring mechanism AI performance, such as unintended bias, any international standard or mechanism they could be referenced, such as the precision, the recall, the false positive.
Yeah, so-called international standard is not there yet, but there's some good practices. We are now collecting more understanding from the industry and from other markets, and we are considering to put in more examples in the FAQ, if applicable. But I think even if we put some examples in the FAQ, I think it's good to let the insurers know that actually just for references, they are not asked to restrict their testing or their assessment to these examples. But yes, we are collecting some good practices from the market.
The next question is from AIA Chrismo. Is asking about the revised GL20 started to finalize in Q4. What is the buffer time? To be honest, we are not sure that if GL8 require another buffer time or it will be effective by end of 2026. You can provide the written response to us, and we will consider based on the insurance feedback. Next one is CTF Live, Jackie Lam is asking about also is the revised GL14 go together with the GL8? Yes or maybe not. The GL14 also has is still under development, but the timeline should be similar in 2026. So the next question is Kyle Kai from OCGI. It is asking about the relationship of GL20 and GL8 regarding the cybersecurity requirement. If they fulfill all the GL20 risk level specific cybersecurity requirement, does it mean they automatically compile everything from GL8? Are there any separate assessment required? And will the GL8 have a corresponding cybersecurity assessment framework like GL20 in the future? So I will respond the first part, and the second part I will leave it to CY about the relationship about GL8 and GL20. But in short, GL8 will not require the assessment framework like GL20 in the future.
Yeah, I think as pointed by Jessica, the GL20 is its focus is on the cybersecurity only, while the GL8 TLM framework is supposed to be more than cybersecurity, but the all-rounded IT general controls. And there's a fundamental difference between the objective and what the guidelines try to protect or try to ask the insurance company to protect. For cybersecurity, the focus is more on the external threat, while the TLM framework is for both external operations, IT operations. So it's similar. There's some areas of overlap, but they are not the same.
The next question is from HKMCI from KCT Cito. Does GL8 apply to ensure that only have insurance transaction with institutional policyholder? This question is very tricky, but we cannot say yes or no at the moment, but it's related to the activity that is that in scope in GL8 that we define. The next one is Ben Demons from Sun Life Hong Kong. So the question is, under the revised GL8, how does the insurance authority expect insurer to apply proportionality in AI governance, particularly for internal facing Gen AI tool that is not directly to make customer facing decision? This is relevant related to advisor, copilot, internal LLM assistant, and analytics. So as we mentioned, the GL8 is not intended to cover a very intensive use for internal facing Gen AI tool. It's the tool that's really related to the customer decision. So, but if your company, some of the internal function, you have use of Gen AI and outsource the whole function to any cloud platform or the other third-party vendors, that will be covered in GL5.
Maybe I can supplement here. Actually, as pointed out in the guideline or the consultation draft, two factors or two aspects to be considered. One is the potential impact on the external customers, no matter it's directly customer facing or not. And second one would be the level of reliance by the insurers on the system in relation to the critical operation. I think the same principle or aspects can be applied to for the insurers to consider whether the internal operations actually is really within the scope of the GL8 AI requirement.
So the next question from Milky Samsung Insurance is asking what criteria is used to define the risk profile of insurer. I don't quite understand the question here.
I think it's about in the high risk identification of high risk AI systems, we do mention the term risk profile of insurer. Okay. I think the risk profile of insurers is pretty self-explanatory. I'm thinking how to further elaborate on this actually.
I think it might be about how the insurers place their own risk appetite when they develop their AI strategy. They need to take this into consideration of how much of a risk they can accept when they use any AI systems or any use case that they want to develop.
So Milky, this is referred to the risk appetite that defined by the insurance themselves. The next question is from Money Hero. So it's asked about the digital channel. The definition includes social media, website, mini app. Does I intend to cover messaging apps, email, QR code journey, network, and the other hosts by the third party? So to be honest, we cannot name all the digital channel instances, but the GL8 should apply to all the digital channel that the insurance companies use for insurance application. But to be honest, if you ask for WhatsApp communication, then you check communication in the extent of just normal communication, it might not be useful. It is really related to the application process and the advisory process when you're contacting the customer when purchasing an insurance product.
Yeah, I think digital channels, the four websites, social media, etc. They are examples. I think the definition of digital channel itself is actually described in the consultation, already. Yeah.
So the next question is from Blue Cross. It is about the IP address location data. First, is the IP geolocation is a mandatory control or it is intended as one of the optional or risk-based indicator. The second is that will IA apply this only to new business or only for servicing activity for existing policyholder. So our general view for now is that we want to make it is not like a optional or risk-based indicator. We strongly recommend to implement. And the second is that it might not only apply to servicing activity, but it's also applied on new business acquisition, especially on the application process. When you fill out the application form or when you generate the quotation process. For some of the product, we will provide more clarification on our FAQ because it seems that it is a popular questions that being asked by a number of insurers. I believe that we have covered almost all the questions for now. So once again, thank you very much for all the attendees for coming to the GL8 briefing sessions. So again, this briefing sections is taken as discussion sections that to let you know more on the GL8 new element. So if you have any comment, any suggestions, you're very welcome to submit to us in written through your respective associations. So at the moment, I will see if Tony have any supplement before we close this section.
Thank you, Jessica. So thank you, CY. So first of all, I think this is the first time I will see quite a lot of the questions when we conduct the town hall. So in the past, when I conduct the town hall, there's only a few questions here. So I'm glad that there are a lot of questions. So that demonstrates that you have, first of all, taken it very seriously about your operational resilience, about when you are developing some AI solutions or using the AI as a matter of the operations here. And I'm also glad to see that you're taking it very seriously about what sort of problem, what sort of risk that you will foresee to come across, and what are the ways that you want to overcome it. So first of all, as CY has conducted the briefing just now, we are on the GL8. We want to highlight some of the controls areas like the governance, accountability, and protection of the customer data here. So these are the essential objectives for us to develop this GL8. But of course, when you do about your risk management processes, this is in no difference about the other risks that you need to assess through your risk management processes, like the identification of the risk that you have just now present a lot of the risk that you are trying to identify. So once you identify the risk, first of all, basically you need to mitigate it and also to have a controlled processes here. So in our guideline, we cannot elaborate exhaustively what are the risks that should be identified and what are the ways that you are going to overcome. So it depends about the risk appetite. So how much risk will you take? Of course, what will be the controls that you need to protect the policyholders. So this is what about the objective of GL8. And by all means, this is our time also. If you have any other comments, by all means, write to us.
So thank you very much, Tony. So for the last moment, I'll leave the time to see if any supplement before we close this section today. So if not, then early Happy New Year to everyone, and then we expect to receive your formal comment by end of February after the CMI holiday. So have a very good day. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much. Thank you.